It's obvious that you listen to this show to hear about and support other people's dreams. But what about yours? What is your dream project? I'm here to help you break through whatever is in the way of your dreams and get you to the finish line. Go to dreamingbigcoaching.com today and take the first step. Literally, it's a button you can click to sign up for a free consultation with me. Let's find out if I can help you reach your goal. Click on Take the First Step. It's that simple to start the rest of your life. Get coached by Rob Southgate at dreamingbigcoaching.com. Welcome back again to Go Fund This, the podcast where you find out about the coolest crowdfunding campaigns out there that you definitely want to know about. I'm your host, Rob Southgate, and today I'm joined by Jessica Marcrum to discuss the Crowdfundr campaign for Oops, All Draculas. And now, here's Jessica. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me, you and your cat, who has now joined us for the show. You are more than, I was going to say you're more than welcome, cat, but see ya.
He's sitting in his bed.
Is that Trisket? Trisket,
yeah,
see ya.
That's Trisket.
So back to the snack tray for you, Trisket. So, Jessica, why don't you tell our audience who you are, what you do?
Yeah, hi. I'm a tabletop game designer and streamer, sensitivity reader, and all of that stuff.
All of the above, huh?
Yeah.
So, sensitivity reader. Wait, you know what? I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But first, the reason we're here is we're going to be talking about your crowdfunder for the tabletop game, Oops, All Draculas. So before we talk about you and your sensitivity reading, I want to talk about this. You've launched already. We have 14 days left as of this recording. So by the time you hear this, it'll be a few more days. There'll be less days left, but you have a goal of $4,500. You're already at $4,086. So you're 90% of the way there. Jessica, you're going to make it.
So exciting.
You're totally making it. And on top of that, we have some stretch goals. And when we start talking about those, I think you're going to hit those. I think you're going to be hitting some of those pretty quickly. So it's exciting, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So for right now, Oops, All Draculas, can you explain the game to the audience?
Yeah. So Oops, All Draculas is a game that uses a D6 system. The system is called the Buddy system, which I came up with, that is basically focused on teamwork and collaboration. So every character has a couple skills that they are good at, but that their class archetype is particularly skilled at, though any character can use any skill in the game. However, let's say I can explain this. I wrote it.
You wrote it.
I wrote it. I can do it. So whatever, you know how in like D&D or a PBTA game, you get a certain number value to assign to an attribute.
Yes.
In the Buddy system and in Oops, All Draculas, that number is how many D6s you roll to perform a check.
Gotcha.
And anytime you roll a 5 or a 6, you succeed. So in Oops, All Draculas, you have 4 skills based on the type of Dracula that you are. And if you want to use something outside of those skills, you only get to roll 1d6. Ways you can boost your skills are helping somebody else. You can combine skills with them and roll all your dice together. You all create a home together, which is why this gets called a What We Do in the Shadows simulator, because you are a bunch of Draculas living in a house that can be as nice or as crummy as you make it.
Fantastic.
And you get an extra D6 when you use your powers in your home. But if you are too powerful, then there's some blowback. And then you roll some complications to see what happens to you or your environment.
Very nice. So what's the story of Oops, All Draculas?
So it's actually a hack of a previous game that I wrote called The Coven at the End of the Lane, where you were a bunch of witches living in a house together. And I do a lot of game jams. And so that was developed simultaneously for Rainbow Jam, which was focused on queerness and found family, and also for Witch Jam at the same time. So I was like, oh, there'll be a bunch of queer witches living in a house together.
Of course.
Yeah, it was perfect. And then a year or two later, it was in 2021, Dracula Jam happened. And I really wanted to do a game for it. And it wasn't sure how much time I was going to have. So at first I was like, well, I'll just add a Dracula I'll add a Dracula class that can live in the coven and release that as the Dracula at the end of the lane. Like you can be witches, but also there's a Dracula. And then I had more time than I expected. So I just redid the entire game with, instead of 5 different witches, you can be 5 different types of vampires drawn from different types of vampire representation in pop culture.
Sure.
So that became Oops All Draculas, the Oops All Crunch Berries of the Dracula at the end of the
I got that when I saw the name. I'm like, oh, this is so fantastic.
And then that really took off. Like the Coven is my beloved little baby, but the internet really liked Oops All Draculas. So when I asked my audience, like, what would you like for my first printed game? People wanted this one. And so we're doing a print run, and I got to commission artists and Saga, who did the beautiful character sheets for it, infinitely better than the mess that I made in Google Docs when I made my first character sheets, was actually doing these character sheets as an art warm-up exercise on her own, because she liked the game and was just kind of sending them to me like, oh, look, I made the Sentimentalist. Oh, look, I made the Innocuous. And so after she did 2 or 3 of them, I was like, hey, if I made a print run of this, how much could I pay you? Like, what would you charge for me to just have you do all of them and print them in the book? So, yeah, that was kind of how this got started.
It's so fantastic. So it's on Crowdfundr, and I'm going to tell you, it's Oops All Draculas on Crowdfundr, but you're probably not going to retain all of that. Go to the show notes. There's going to be a link in the show notes. Super easy to go there and to contribute to this. You definitely want to do this because you're going to have the reaction that I had. I can almost guarantee it. I popped it open. I saw the artwork. I saw the name Oops All Draculas, and I think it's why the internet loves this, Jess. It made me immediately want to like get this and start playing. I was like, this just sounds like a blast.
And the beta's ready. So as soon as you fund it, you can play it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So
it's not like the hyperlinks aren't ready. There's a couple things like the table of the PDF isn't as nice as it will be at the end. But as soon as you back it, you are sent a download link to the beta copy that has like the layout and the new art in it already.
Fantastic. So you can jump right in and start playing.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the tiers. I do want to hear about who's involved in this, but I think that the tiers are going to tell us a lot. So are there any that you think that people would be especially interested in? Because I can tell right now they're getting excited. They want to support this. What level do they want to come in at?
The Oops All Draculas tier is probably the main one, because with that one, you get the PDF copy and the print copy as well, which is going to be a soft cover book, 5x7. And yeah, that you'll get that and any unlocked stretch goals and your name in the book. So that's the one. If you, for some reason, want to spend a ton of money, I did put the option for a Dracula party in there where you get 5 physical copies, and I will be your Dracula master and run the game for you.
You know, Jess, I'm looking at the amount. I'm not saying that's a ton of money. I think that this would be a really fun, thing, especially if you're going to game master this for that price. They get 5. You can game master them. I mean, what an awesome party that would be.
I mean, it is a big discount of the games and also for what I usually charge for GMing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good rate, but also it is my like, if you want to spend a lot of money on something.
See, I'm a big fan of the ridiculous stretch goal. To me, I'm like, okay, that one's right in line. Actually, I think they're getting a hell of value. Let's do one at $1,500 where Lance Henriksen actually comes to your house and bites you on the neck, brings back his character from Near Dark. I'm thinking big. I'm thinking big here. I'd be all in on that, by the way. Also, I'm saying it. I'm thinking, could we put a tier like that? Can you get in touch with Lance Henriksen? I love Lance Henriksen. So
I don't know him personally, but I will see who I could reach out to.
Right. You never know, right?
I used to do volunteer work with Ed Harris's parents, so maybe I could get Ed Harris.
How fun would that be? Hi there. I'm Rob Southgate and host of this show. This is the trailer for TTRPG Insider, a podcast about, you guessed it, tabletop role-playing games. Actually, it's more specifically about the amazing people that create TTRPGs. Each episode, I'll interview someone who is involved in making the games that we all love to play. You'll hear from world builders, artists, musicians, writers, marketers, people that run the Discord, and really just anyone involved behind the scenes. And this isn't just a promo show talking about how great their games are. I want to hear their stories. How they got to where they are, what's their history with gaming, any tips they can give, and hopefully some fun stories about their lives. So, let's make this official. Welcome to the TTRPG Insider Podcast. TTRPG Insider is a celebration of an industry that I love. I started this show so I would have a chance to talk with the people that you might meet at a convention if you're lucky enough. So grab your dice, throw on some headphones, and come with me on this journey. Oh yeah, make sure to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts to hear our first episode when it drops this week. So, okay, you said that the characters themselves are based on kind of the archetypes that you found in other vampire pop culture. Any that you want to point out? Are there any that you were like, yeah, I definitely took Michael Bihn's character from this, or I definitely based it on watching this character?
So there's 5 archetypes. I could just run through them real quick. The aristocrat is basically like when you think of Dracula, right? This is going to be your Bela Lugosi. This is going to be your Viago the Poker kind of thing. This is who that guy is.
Yeah.
Then we have your innocuous, who is written as the child vampire. It's heavily based on Claudia from Interview with a Vampire.
Sure.
But we've seen a lot of that lately with like Octavia Butler's Fledgling and Babette from Skyrim, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then you've got your
I'm going that kid from Near Dark. As soon as I read Innocuous, that's who I thought of. You remember that kid?
I haven't seen that.
This is my favorite vampire movie. Jess,
I'm so sorry.
you need to see this.
Okay.
That's where my Lance Henriksen reference came from. The kid, it's a boy. It's the boy that was in Near Dark. River's Edge. Did you ever see River's Edge?
No.
Okay, Jess, you're dealing with an old-time geek here. See both of these movies. You'll be upset by River's Edge. Very upset. It's very good. But then when you watch Near Dark, you'll be like, now that's a vampire movie. And the kid, he's like 14 and he's trapped in this vampire body.
Oh, it's a Catherine Bigelow movie with Bill Paxton. This is right up my alley.
And it's amazing. We're talking, for me, it's a 5-star movie. Okay, that's who I thought of. So I would play it that way. So let's hear about Nosferatu.
Yeah, those are your it's based on the trope namer, right? Nosferatu, the silent movie, Count Orlok, but also the angel from Midnight Mass, basically the Nosferatu clan. If you play Vampire the Masquerade, they're your creepy, ancient, probably bald, bat-eared vampires who are not good at making friends.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. Then we've got our, what I like to call my Anne Rice vampires, or the Edward Cullen vampires, the sentimentalist who aren't really happy being vampires. They usually have a mortal friend. So, they're your Angel from Buffy, or your Louis from Interview with a Vampire, your Edward Cullen. Like I said, they're the sad boys of the vampires.
Yeah, your emo vampire.
Yeah. And then the last one is the techno vampire. And when I was going through to add in cultural references for this, I realized These were huge in my like understanding of vampires growing up, but they were only in pop culture for a very short time. These are your leather-clad 90s movies vampires.
Yes.
So these are like Blade, Lost Boys,
Yes,
Underworld, and a little bit of Hellsing, the anime, like that kind of thing. These are your leather and guns kind of thing. They're usually the ones who are more action focused, that, you know, want to go fight werewolves and that kind of thing.
yes.
And I was like, yeah, this has always been a thing. And it really hasn't. And I was laughing at myself when I was like, because at the end of the game, I have, you know, like here's my inspirations for all of this. And all of my techno inspirations are from like 1987 to 2000.
You know what? Near Dark is right in that wheelhouse, although it is like the gritty version. Like they're not I mean, they're leather clad because they live in Texas and they're trying to stay out of the sun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're not going to clubs like in Blade, which, oh my God, the club scene in Blade 2 might be one of the most glorious vampire things you've ever seen.
That was the inspiration for the techno at first, where I was like, they need to have like clubs.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. As much as I'm like, I totally want to play that innocuous one. I totally want to play Nosferatu. I totally want to play techno. I totally want to play Aristocrat. I am not Sentimental Vampire. Sorry. I'd have a hard time even faking it.
I have run this game where everyone wanted to play the Sentimentalist.
Oh, sure.
So hearing that you want to play everyone except the Sentimentalist, like, just warms my heart so much.
Yeah, I want to see what they do. I want to have a party with it. The Sentimentalists, I feel like I'd just be going, hoo-hoo. Oh, I'm in the corner.
I will say I have to
fight somebody and I don't want to.
So this game can be played with or without a Dracula Master. If you don't play with one, I just recommend a way to set the tone as a group is to either use a tarot deck, which is what I used for the Coven at the end of the lane, where it was more thematic there. But there's some really cool Dracula-inspired tarot decks. And also another way to do it is just to flip to a random page in Dracula or Interview with a Vampire or your vampire book of choice and just read a random line from there. Yeah. Just pick a random sentence and that sets the tone for the scene. And that's what happens.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, we've got also some stretch goals here, which you're inching up on one. I'm very confident you're going to hit your goal. I mean, I'd be shocked if you didn't. The world would have to stop. Your first stretch goal is at 5,500. It's adding more art. Very exciting.
Yeah, Zan is already working on familiar art for that.
Good.
Zan,
because she's going to need to.
Zan is one of my favorite critter artists, and she does amazing ink drawings. And I was just so excited to reach out to her. If you go to her ArtStation or her Twitter page, she has some really beautiful like teacup owl bears and jackalopes in teacups that she has drawn, and they're just so beautiful.
Fantastic. Is that little drawing on there with the rabbit with the T, is that her?
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, I'm all in. I'm all in on this stretch goal. We've got additional illustrations. We've got the witchy archetypes show up. So there are a lot of fun things as we go up. Let's see. A print copy will be signed by my cats, Tony and Trisket. Okay, this has to hit 10,000 because
that's the pie in the sky goal. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, everybody gets my cats running all over their copies.
That's fantastic. Are you going to be able to control them not running all over the copies?
So because my cats are really old, I will be honest, I don't want to torment them by having them sign however many copies that would be. So I was basically going to have them get a couple copies of their signature and then just have it printed on.
You can get like a rubber stamp made out of anything. So
basically, that's what I was going to do because they're 14 and 15 years old and they like sleeping more than they like signing autographs.
So who on the team do you want to highlight here? You've got an amazing team, and I'm sure you want to highlight everybody. But what are some people that you want to? I mean, you can hit them all if you want. Yeah,
I really want to highlight Katakemi, who is the cover artist. She worked really closely with David Marcuski, who did the layout, and they created an absolutely gorgeous cover that I find completely striking. And David did gorgeous stuff with the layout. Nata and Teo with the internal art, and Rory actually has her own crowdfunding thing going on. That is also vampire themed on Crowdfundr right now. It's a solo game that is fantastic. So
we should have her on. You got to tell her to contact me.
Yeah, I think I did actually, but
Okay.
I will definitely do that. What is it called? Dead Letter Society.
Oh, give it a shout out on the show. I love it.
Yeah. So that is a fantastic one. And yeah, they're just all wonderful humans. And like I said, Saga Mackenzie is making a name for herself as a cartographer. She just had maps released in the new Cyberpunk game that came out. And the fact that she was like, yeah, I'll do character sheets for this made my day.
Fantastic. I see this as low risk. You've already done the work. You're doing the work currently to wrap things up. So there's really no risk here. You're going to hit the goal. So that's all fantastic. I want everybody to do the Dracula party. I want you to have to, you got 3 of them on there. I want you to be working overtime on these Dracula parties because I think that just sounds so much fun. Please, everybody, go to Crowdfundr, check out Oops All Draculas. I defy you to not support this when you see these opening images and to start reading this because it's just fun. This is what I want when I do TTRPG. I want to just have a good time and laugh and bring the gore if I want to, because I know I can do that here. So Jess, where can people reach you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Miss_Jess03 for as long as Twitter is functional, I suppose. You can find me on Twitch at Angry Nerd Girl, where I stream every Friday there. We're actually streaming Oops All Draculas this week, so you can watch that on a VOD by the time this airs. And you can find me on my website, which is jessicamarcrumwrites.com.
Excellent. And once again, all of that will go in the show notes. Makes it easy for you to find. And I'm also going to put a link to your page on DriveThruRPG because I was on there and I saw all sorts of really fun things that you've made there too.
Thank you.
So yeah, buy her stuff, support this crowdfunder. We want more of this. This is really fun and this is really cool. Once again, thank you for coming on, Jess. This has been awesome. I have all the faith in the world here, and I am really hoping to overtax your cats a little bit and hit that $10,000 mark.
They're good boys. They'll have fun with it.
Thanks a lot, Jess.
Thank you.
I am all in on this project. The crowdfunder for Oops All Draculas ends on March 16th at 2:59 a.m. That's basically midday for the children of the night. Go to Crowdfundr and support this wonderful project, and be sure to tell your friends about it. Thanks again to Jessica for coming on the show and sharing this fun project with us. If you know anyone who has a crowdfunding effort about to launch or currently going, send them our way. We love to share cool projects and to help people reach their goals. You can connect with me through the Go Fund This Podcast Facebook page or via email directly to rob@smgpods.com. You can find a link to this crowdfunder and any links we discussed in the show notes. Go Fund This is a production of Southgate Media Group, hosted, edited, and produced by me, Rob Southgate. Thanks again for listening to Go Fund This.